County, but it's um, yeah, I'll go ahead and say that's good. Um, anyway, so he gets a lot of practice, and so he's actually pretty what do I want to say? He kind of gets right down to work,
Uh-huh.
and it's nice to watch.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning,
Oh, you,
Liam.
oh, you
Good
did
day.
show up,
Mm,
Bob.
yeah, I don't have to be where I'm going until 11. So
Okay.
I'm, as they say, I'm squeezing you in.
Okay, great.
By the way, Liam, you might find this interesting. I actually measured the mileage the other day when I went up there.
Ah,
From my front door to the top of the mountain and back down to my front door is 203 miles.
my goodness.
I know I couldn't, but then I thought, it takes roughly an hour one way, so it does make sense. But yeah, I didn't. I thought, oh my gosh,
Yeah, that's a stretch. Mine I thought was more like 150 miles or so, but
yeah. Hey, if you guys are interested, W6MOW, the UHF repeater on Fremont Peak. There
Yeah.
are pictures posted of that repeater on my website. I think I
Okay.
sent out a link to it. Matter of fact, Liam,
yeah,
yeah,
you
I stumbled on it on accident when I was talking to the Homeland Security tech who was working on their stuff in the same vault. So now I know what vault it's in. I know where its antennas are, and you can see all the hardware. Matter of fact, it is the same 7330 controller.
yes, I saw
And,
that.
and he's taking, oh, did you look at it in detail?
I did. I
You
looked at
did?
all
Yeah.
your. In
Oh,
fact, what was interesting was I remember hearing him talk about that. I mean, months ago, probably last year sometime, he was talking to someone else over the air, and he focuses on only using Motorola Quantar radios, as I recall.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, exactly that. And that's exactly what's in there. But yeah, it was interesting talking to just for your all of your entertainment and amazement. The vault, which is owned by Crown Castle,
Ah.
has a big metal door on it and a key lock. Okay. So rather than giving the people who have rented space in there a key, they have a little post outside with a little electronic box on it that contains the key to the door. And you have to use an app on your phone with a combination to unlock the cover on the box to get the key. And they have done this at all their sites. And the guy told me, you know, it doesn't work worth a darn up here. You have to fiddle and fiddle and fiddle and do all kinds of things to get the app to work on the bot. The box is sitting right underneath KSBW TV, KDON FM, channel 25 TV. In other words, the little Bluetooth box cover lid is getting jammed and they can't get the cover to them. So when he got there, the cover was just hanging loose. They said, ah, heck with it, and walked away the last time. So when you think of these commercial sites that are safe and secure and well managed, have a good laugh and move on because it ain't true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was at the Embara site. I've got that. They have an app, electronic lock thing, and uses Bluetooth, but I haven't used it yet. So uh, I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if you,
that's not a problem like
yeah,
over there at Embari because you're out in the this is right smack underneath megawatt transmitters.
that's right. Yeah.
I mean,
Little different.
who was the Yahoo that thought this thing up?
Well, at least the locks at Embara are you can manage them manually.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they
Yeah.
don't require the app, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one, nope. There is no way in unless you can get it to work electronically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, anyway,
Yeah.
enough said.
Well, while you're talking, that's the
Yes.
first thing on my list was going to read your repeater report.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can give you a little bit more on that
Okay.
since writing it. Actually at both ends. First off, start with Williams Hill. It now appears that we have a descents problem down there.
ah,
You remember Matthew Kaufman and his WB6 ECE simulcast UHF system
Yeah.
has a site now on Williams Hill that is not more than about 100 feet away from where our stuff is on the tower and in the military vault. Okay. And his antennas look right over that way. Okay. And same UHF band. It wasn't there when we got the original filters and put everything in. If you take our link radio, which I found is working perfect, and it does have a fan on it, which I don't know why I took the pictures without the
you,
fan, but
you had taken the picture in a previous visit, and we did the fan on the last visit,
and
and
I didn't
we didn't
shoot.
take a new
Okay,
picture.
that would well, it's got a picture of it now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I actually thermally measured everything. It's nice and stable. It doesn't go more than about 4 to 5 degrees higher than the room. So it's working well. And I keyed up for like about 5 minutes just to see what it would do. And it stabilized out beautiful. So the link radio is healthy. The link antenna is healthy. And the effective radiated power from Fremont Peak down to Williams Hill versus the effective radiated power from Williams here back to Fremont Peak is virtually identical. Okay. With the power out of the repeater, the duplexers, and the antennas and stuff down there. Okay. So the question has become that people have been asking, especially on nets and the MC ARES net and stuff, is why does the Williams Hill repeater sound so good up here? And we don't seem to have any problems with it at all that I've heard. Yet down there, Alan was saying that it was having a lot of white noise at times and completely dropping out at times. And you're talking line of sight path, and one way's working and the other way is not, and it's all seems to be focused down there. So the answer appears to be, and I've had a couple other people agree with this, is that it looks like we're having an issue where Matthew's system is keying up and it's causing the repeater to be desensed. Only thing we can go on at this point that makes any sense. So what we're going to have to look at doing is looking for a notch filter that will filter Matthew's signal specifically and probably stick it in down there. I don't know who's going to wind up paying for it. I don't know where the money's going to come from. I got to look into the engineering of it and see what we can get for a reasonable price that will be narrow enough to do the job
Okay.
without completely desensing or not reducing the signal levels on the repeater itself. So that's that end. As far as the north end, like I said, the link radio was checked, the antennas were checked. Um, all of the connections on the controller were just connected, cleaned, and reset, screwed in. Connections on the radios, on the repeaters and stuff were all checked. Everything was solid, but they were taken off, cleaned, and put back on. So everything is putting out the correct power levels. That UHF power amp that we've got up there is working fine, and that is corroborated by Alan saying down there in King City that he listens to our UHF output rather than Williams Hill. So that says that it's putting out like it should. So as far as repeater equipment and everything goes, everything is nice and solid. And Williams Hill is on a generator backup down there. So, and a UPS. So, we should be in good shape. One thing that Alan is going to try and work some more on down, he's out of town right now, but he's got to go back over to Fort Hunter Liggett and have a meeting with their fire officer. They still have not cleared the brush away from the propane tanks up there on the top of the hill. And I'm trying to convince them that besides a security issue, they've got a major hazard up there because the propane tanks are covered in brush. So if that manzanita goes up for whatever reason, you're going to have about 4 explosions at the side of that building. Not to mention burning coax and melting antennas and stuff. So that is in essence my report.
Well, good. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we'll just need to find out how much. So if we do a crowdfunding thing or whatever, it depends on how much it is. So
Well, if we were to go out and buy a single cavity notch filter right now, like say brand new from Telewave, and they were to give us the usual 30% amateur radio discount, especially since we're working with OES and stuff, my guess is we're probably looking at about $800.
okay, it's not
I
too
mean, in
bad.
that ballpark somewhere there.
Okay,
Now, can we find one cheaper somewhere? Yeah, maybe on eBay. And it's not hard to tune it. That I can do in my sleep. But
okay,
we're going to probably need to get something.
yeah, okay, sounds good.
Okay.
And okay, the next thing I have is the MCOM video. I did send it out this morning. I was
Oh,
having
yeah.
and so to share that was pretty good.
I completely forgot I had that.
Yeah,
That's not made up. That's actual.
yeah,
Oh crap! Look what happened and what do we do? And I mean, here's this guy in their EOC saying, "Hey, you know, you're going to have to rely on amateur radio."
hmm yeah,
Wow. You know?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was a good one. And it's short. It's 7 minutes or thereabouts, and
Yeah.
so it was pretty good, pretty informative.
It's well worth watching.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one thing I have is Alan King. During the shakeout, he went over to the Bitterwater Tully School to do a radio test for the San Benito County ARES because he's fairly close to that location. So, and then they tested the radio with the students. So
Yeah.
they had about a dozen people on there that participated. So that was pretty good to do.
Well, there was also another element to it that was useful, was that they actually had students speak on
Yeah.
the radio as well. So it was an
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a general introduction to the public, you know, of this particular
Oh, okay.
thing existing, and the fact that you know San Benito is one of the active clubs in terms of doing that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a good thing. It's a good direction to strive for.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So I thought that was really good. Also, Ellen set up a meeting with Me Memorial, the emergency coordinator.
Wow.
He invited me, but I'm not able to go. But he's going to check with them, and I did write him back and say that yeah, check their radios and uh, get the models that they have, because some of those were done back around 2000, that when they were installed. So they're probably older radios, but I have all the uh, programming cables and the software if we need to update it, which I think that probably need to be. Uh, John Greathouse used to manage, he was the emergency coordinator down there originally. And then he came up to the county for the last few years when before he retired. So
Well,
go ahead.
um, I believe that that's also where Great House's Go Kit, that large box with HF and VHF radios, is housed. Besides any discrete radios that might be there, I think that's where that unit is. It was the latest build for a Go Box radio that we had demonstrated at the Del Monte Safety Fair
Yeah.
a few years back.
Yeah. It's actually, I believe it's at the health department
Oh,
up in Salinas. Yeah. So,
my
but
mistake.
but I think he did two of them, if I'm not mistaken. And so there may be one down there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So that was the main thing I wanted. If Alan's going to be there, to at least identify what they have, and uh, we can go from there. So let's see what else. Oh, I wanted to talk about the Imbara booth and see how, I guess it went pretty well.
We had a lot of community interest, and enough people actually walked away with information flyers that we weren't going to run out, but we certainly had a shorter stack when we were done.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was, and even those folks that weren't going to follow on with further interest in amateur radio and BARI or N6IJ in particular, at least learned that, you know, there was this whole activity and resource and asset in their midst.
Yeah.
And many actually had worked, well, I shouldn't say many, a few had actually worked on the base and knew about that site.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, you know, very positive interactions generally. And we had a bit more, you know, true activity. And we didn't have just the brochures. We actually had things running, things
Yeah.
that might pique interest.
Yeah.
So that part worked out pretty well. Um, and we were fortunate because it was an ally in the city that helped push that for us. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have been that successful if we hadn't had at least one ally. And it turned out we have two allies, one in the council membership and one in the commission membership.
Yeah.
No, we're not out of the woods. We've got a long way to go yet, but we're making some progress in at least the right direction.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And I would think some of the veterans that had participated in that when the base was open, that, you know, they were probably surprised that it was still operational.
Yeah, I can't say that we saw that many veterans.
Yeah,
We did see a few, but we also saw some, well, I guess it would be civilian staff that also knew about it,
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. So it was, in general, I really think it was a good thing for both the community and for us.
yeah. That's good. Good. And let's see. And then the other thing I saw where they're planning to do a ham testing, I guess, next year at the Casterville Library.
Well, no, they moved it. They found a site in Marina. There's a church at
Okay.
California and Carmel that has offered the space. And so Will is the team leader for getting everybody under the same VEC. There are enough VEs right now that have stepped up. Uh, 2 to 3 different VECs are represented, so Will wants to pull them under one. And I guess one of the positive things about it is the VEC organization doesn't charge fees for certain things.
Oh,
And
good.
so it's a much lower cost approach as well. And it was
Yeah.
his kind of his requirement that we go that direction.
Yeah.
But so things are lined up. I think January, there should be no reason not to have one or more sessions
Yeah. Okay, good.
starting next year.
All right. Because yeah, I got my training materials for generals, so I need to crack the books and see if I can make it by January.
It's not that
So
hard. You can do it.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so that's all I have at this point. Does anybody else have anything else? Anything?
Oh, one observation from over here in the Watsonville area. Any fixed amateur radio stations at hospitals, if you have not been in there recently, it's a very advisable idea to go in. And Watsonville had a radio station inside the emergency room in an offset little office area room.
Yeah.
That is no more, because that area is now technically off limits. As a matter of fact, Watsonville is they're going to double their emergency room. But the problem is what the other things that that room is used for. They don't want extra people in there.
Yeah.
And there were a couple occasions where the hospital was the emergency room was code black, which means out of service because of potential contamination by a patient that was brought in. And you wouldn't be able to be in there to do radio. If you were in there, you weren't going anywhere
Yeah.
and you couldn't get messages in and out of there anyway. So, that being said, what they are doing is they are taking the hospital staff is doing this since they own the stuff. They are taking all of the radio equipment out of that room and they went out and purchased a what is it about a 4U high road case, and they are putting all the radio gear in a road case, and it is being stored in the hospital administration boardroom
Hmm.
because that's usually where they have their emergency command post at, or they may move to someone. The point is that it can be picked up and put anywhere in the hospital,
Yeah.
talk through the repeaters on the roof, and you can work it anywhere. So a fixed location is not looked at fondly anymore by most hospitals,
Yeah.
simply because they have to change what they do and where they do it on the fly.
Yeah.
So my point is, yeah, this stuff is moving there in Watsonville, and you may want to look at some of the other hospitals there and say, what can we do to have a grab and go case that is in the hospital somewhere identified, and you can just show up, grab the case, set up, and start working.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Chomp, they moved their uh, essentially their EOC. They moved that and were moving coax and all that kind of stuff. They I gave them a recommendation. They asked about a second antenna just so they can be plugged in during the construction and all that stuff. And then, but it was all going to move to another place, location in the
Well,
hospital.
one other suggestion, and this caught me completely by surprise over here. I did not know that they did this. And it's a good thing, but I didn't know that they did it. But any hospital that has any kind of an emergency room facility, okay, they have to put together an emergency operations plan, okay? And at one point, I was told by one administrator it has to be submitted to the state for approval so they can have their certification of their emergency facility.
Yeah.
Watsonville Hospital, because they became a standalone hospital, wrote their own emergency ops plan and submitted it. What I didn't realize was they wrote all of the amateur radio repeaters into their emergency plan as their means of backup communication. Um, okay. So the point is, they have to stay there.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't just pick up the repeaters and move them somewhere. So, from the CEO of the hospital, the comment was addressed face to face. So, what do you need to keep the repeaters here and keep them supported? And how can we help you?
Wow.
So, any of these places, you probably want to go in and check and say, hey, do you guys have an emergency ops plan? Can we see it?
Yeah.
And if you have amateur radio gear there, like a grab and go kit or whatever, you want to make sure it gets written into their plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I visited Salinas Valley Health over there, and they have the radio part is in a separate building. They have they've got several buildings. And so they were in another building. I had to go through the main entrance of the hospital. And then I met the, the emergency coordinator. And then we went out of that building and into another building. And then where the radios were. And it was kind of where they had some of their IT stuff. And the IT director was over there. And so, yeah, it was in a separate building.
Well, the nice thing about being written into their emergency plan
Uh-huh.
is that it gives you an added level of authority to actually be there.
Yeah.
In other words, if you go down to, say, Me Memorial down there, and you have been assigned by emergency operations manager or whatever, please go down there and set up a station. Okay. And you walk in and they don't really know what's going on or why are you there.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Say, go check your emergency ops plan. We are supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And that takes you right up on the playing level.
Yeah. And I think I'll check with them, but the county health department they oversee all the hospitals. So
Right.
so I would think that they would have that type of plan in place.
Yeah, start top down and have them
Yeah.
send out some kind of advisory. Hey, if
Yeah.
you don't have this in your plan, add it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
idea. So anything else? Does anybody have anything else or something coming up or no? Well, that's all I have at this point. And so till next month. And we don't have I think the date is good. Let me see. Let me double check real quick. Let's see, November 15th. Yeah, it's all open. So November 15th. And so we'll be good. And thank you for checking in here. And then if I don't see you before, we'll see you then. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Okay.
All right. Good health, high spirits to all.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.